BNG, the ruler, street sweepers, the mafia, I'm Mob ENT CEO. We are live and in full effect with another episode of the Real Right Show. Today, we have Brilliant Girl Finance. We will be bringing her in to discuss financial literacy, real estate, REITs, generational wealth, some different ways that you can invest, some different ways that parents can invest into their kids' lives, and a couple other different things. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of history of how me and Kadira is associated. This is my cousin, my blood cousin. Okay. And I think it's very important for you guys to see the family dynamics of how you can and should support your family and how your family could and should support you and what you have going on, however they choose to support you. I also want to show the importance of unity and group economics. Um, and then, like I said, just to give y'all a little history, I want to talk about how we pretty much came together to plan our family's reunion. What was just this past, I think it was last weekend in Ocean City, Maryland. We had a Zoom meeting with our family, and we came up with a location, got everybody to vote on a location, and got everybody to come together to decide what hotel they wanted to stay at. And we came together and created a itinerary for everyone. And it actually wasn't that hard. And you can tell while we were working together, you could kind of tell that we both were kind of, skilled when it comes to like making itineraries for trips and for vacations and stuff like that. She's a very budget friendly entrepreneur. So that's another thing that I admire about her. Because she often gives a lot of tips on how to save and how to budget your money. Also, like I said, she is a parent of a beautiful daughter. So I think it's important that you guys see that representation of, young parents still thriving in the entrepreneurial arena and setting their kids up for success. All right. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring my beautiful guest on the show. Give me 1 second. Let me set up my phone. Make shout out to everybody that is viewing us on live on StreamYard. We are live on YouTube right now, and now we are currently live on Instagram on my phone. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bring her in. You ready? Thumbs up if you're ready. Ready? All right, cool. All right, BNG the Rules, Street Sweepers, the Mafia. I'm Mob ENTCO. Hello and welcome to the Real Right Show.
Hey, Cuz, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have a busy week, but I'm doing good
Busy.
right now.
Oh my God. I don't think they understand. Like, I'm literally, oh, just to let y'all know, okay, I got to say something else real quick. Mexico is not participating in the United States daylight savings time anymore, okay? So I'm doing this live earlier than normal because immediately after this, I have a show performance. I'm performing my first time in Mexico, but I wanted to make sure that I had time to do this interview, and she has things that she has to do as well. So, without further ado, let them know who you are, where you from, and what you got going on.
Yes, so my name is Kadira. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I run Brilliant Girl Finance, which is pretty much a finance blog. It started as a finance blog, rather, but now I call it a financial education platform for Black youth and adults. We focus on just showing people how they can create assets with little, like a small amount of money, how to turn pretty much 15 cents into a dollar, but on a larger scale. And we started in 2019, as I said, as a financial blog, and now we are officially a financial education platform trying to work with the schools, after school programs, and really teach the youth about budgeting, assets, liabilities, things that we should have learned while we were in school in a
Yes.
deeper level. So that's what I do. And I also run a podcast myself called Viral Debates, and we focus on Black American history.
I think it is very, very important to educate the younger community on the importance of financial literacy and financial education because they've literally just started implementing that in some schools. I think it's maybe one or two states that's implementing into the education right now. So I feel like it's also up to us to do it
Yeah,
because we have
exactly.
because we have access to the information, we have the technology. Of course, our parents, grandparents, ancestors didn't have access to the tools and the things that we have access to. So I feel like that is what is putting the responsibility on us to pass the torch to the next generation. Real briefly, I kind of want you to go a little bit deeper into viral debates because I see some of your content and I see some of the subjects that you bring up, and you really are paying homage to our ancestors and the people who have made sacrifices and inventions and things in the past to help us live more comfortably in today's society. What is your goal for viral debates?
Yeah, so Bible debate started after Brilliant Girl Finance in 2020, before the pandemic, though. Like, I would say I started around 2019, November, December, and then I really got things kicked off January 2020. And Bible debates is really just, it started as a debate show where I would interview multiple people at a time, and we would all debate about something specific to Black relationships or like Black history.
Yes.
And it's still pretty much that. It's just less people. So viral debates, we do two things. We have live debates on different controversial topics, stuff like diaspora wars. That's our biggest viewed video on YouTube right now with like 30K views. And on TikTok, we do, and as well as Instagram, we do unknown history reels. So I say we, but it's really just me. I do unknown history reels where I focus on like predominantly Black American history, but history, all Black history anywhere for real. And honestly, I just love history. So I
Mhm.
focus on telling the truths behind a lot of laws that we have today, a lot of history that we don't know. And I think, it resonates with our family for sure because we're Black American from the South. Speaking about our family, your I think it's your grandmother, right? Aunt Clara's your
Mhm.
grandmother, right?
Yes, my
Aunt
grandmother.
Clara's Right. Clara's like my biggest fan on Brilliant Girl Finance. She comments on everything. So,
Mhm.
Violence Debates, we focus on just telling the story about our family and really and truly like growing and really learning about how can history affect us moving forward.
Today, yeah, and viral debates is I feel like it's needed, like especially when it comes to the African American history, because there are a lot of untold stories that a lot of people don't know and that aren't in the history books. And a lot of the stuff that's in the history books is not the truth. So just to give a couple examples, like a lot of people haven't heard of the story about Oscarville. A lot of people don't know the story about Lake Lanier, the truth about Lake Lanier. A lot of people don't know the story behind Central Park in New York. So there are a lot of things that, like I said again, I feel like it is up to us to educate our people on these topics. Now, what does financial literacy mean to you?
Okay, so I really don't like the term literacy.
Right.
Um, because I think we're all financially literate, at least in my experience. I've seen my mom um, make way with like little money. So
Yes.
I think if somebody could literally raise two kids off of $8 an hour, they're financially literate. Like they don't need
Yes.
nothing more but money because they know how to stretch a dollar. So, for me, financial literacy is pretty much teaching people how to take what they have and take lemons and make lemonade. That's financial
And
literacy to me.
yes.
It's really about just knowing what you have and really figuring out how to multiply it the best way possible. And
Yes.
that we're talking about money. So, like knowing how much money you make and how to take that to the next level every single time you make something. So like if you make $5 today, how to make 5 10, and then when you make 10 next week, how to make 10 20. That's just financial literacy to me. And it's also just knowing how to use the money as a tool, just like
Mhm.
rich people do. They use money as a way to get what they want. And I think that's something that we can do, even though I make way less than those people, I can still do it. So that's financial literacy.
Yes, that is correct. I think it is also very essential that people understand that. everything that is big was once small. So you don't have to invest these large multitudes of money to start investing in stocks or to start investing in REITs or to start investing, in real estate in different ways like that. Like you can start with what you have. As long as you have a plan and you stick to your plan, you can invest small amounts out of your check every week or every month or however you choose to do it. You don't have to have these large multitudes of money just to start investing. Now, give me, in your opinion, what are the top three things that you think people should and could invest
So I'm not a licensed investor, so I won't say exact things, but
in?
I give ideas, right?
Right.
I think we got to think about the future and like what the future is gonna have for us. They have these
Mhm.
positions called futurists, or are they called future? I think they're called futurists, where they try to like predict what's gonna be happening in the future. So I think tech and like AI is going to be real big. So that's one thing that someone should consider investing in some way, somehow, through the stock market. I know for a fact that we eat a lot of processed foods. I know I do, and I try not to. So one thing that's going to be big to me is like research on how to like cure the illnesses of all the processed food that we eat, like cancer. Cancer research is still growing alongside the tech industry. So thinking about investing in those companies are big. And then the last thing I would say is probably like definitely real estate. Real estate is always going to be around, so you got to invest in real estate.
I agree. I agree. Especially when it comes to tech and AI, because that is something that nobody can deny. Like AI is literally taking over everything. So, some things that I would definitely say real estate because people are always going to need housing. I would definitely say land because they're not building any more land. And just to let y'all know, of course, I'm not a licensed, investor either, but we're giving you ideas, and this is for education purposes only. But definitely tech, AI, land, and one more thing I would say, and not against anybody who chooses to get vaccinated, but I would invest into those stocks because, as you know, um, there are going to be more pandemics. So there are going to be more vaccines. So I already have stocks in Pfizer and Moderna, and they've been doing pretty well. You can also invest in Johnson and Johnson if you choose to. So those are one things, and then maybe bioengineering. The companies who do blood work,
Mhm.
I think those are great investments as well. But yeah, those are just a couple things that I think you guys should invest in
Those
moving
are good
forward.
answers. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think those are real good, and those are probably things that people aren't thinking about. Like they normally think about, just the dividend aristocrats and Coca-Cola, Walmart, stuff like that. They don't think, you know, tech stocks and AI stocks and everything is about to be ran by robots. So stocks that own the robot industry and stuff like that. So why is it hold up, no, let me question it like this. What are REITs and
Mhm.
should people invest in them?
Okay, so REITs, in the smallest way to explain it, is pretty much a way to invest in real estate without having real estate. It's pretty much it was created as a way for your everyday person to invest in a building without actually owning the building. Um, More than likely, your small buildings, your landlords is pretty easy to obtain, but those big, hotel buildings and those big company buildings.
Shopping
Those things are
malls.
right. Those are hard to, it's hard for one person to own that. So REITs is a way for your average daily person to own a piece of that property. And that's the simplest way that I can explain it. But it's just like investing in any stock that you would. It's just like investing in Apple, but you're investing in the business, the 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 ground in which the business sits on, and that's the best way I can explain it. And they're important. Answering your second question, they're important to have because, like you said, everyone's always going to need somewhere to stay. That
Mhm.
includes businesses. A lot of businesses are going like e-commerce, but not every business is going e-commerce. So it's very important for you to have one.
Yes, REITs are basically real estate investment trusts, and most of these, as she said, large corporations like shopping malls, hospitals, schools, they're owned or managed by REITs. And a lot of people don't know, but you can actually invest in REITs just like you invest in stocks. Now, are all REITs on the New York Stock Exchange or the S&P 500? No, but the majority of them are. So that it gives you another way to invest into them. But definitely look into real estate investment trust and learn the system. You can invest in some of them for as low as $10, $20, $30, $40. Then they have some for up to a per share. Then they have some that's up to $120. So it's just really according to your budget, what you have, what you're looking to invest, and how much you actually believe in yourself. So give me some of the biggest. What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to credit? We'll start with personal credit, and then we'll talk about some of the misconceptions when it comes to business
So, personal credit, people think that you could just erase your whole history. Um, I mean, there's definitely a way to get things off that you don't want there. There's always a way around the law, but the reality is that if you did it, it can't come off. So that's a big myth that you could just erase any and everything.
credit.
And I would say another myth is that credit is king. I personally don't believe in that. I mean, just from my experience with buying assets, I've had a 800 plus credit score multiple times, right? Because credit scores change every month. So sometimes my
Right.
score will drop to like 780, and then the next month is back to like 805. So I've had an 800 credit score multiple times. And even with having that, everything that I've had to buy, I still needed money. I still needed cash. So another myth that I feel like people don't seem to really understand is that credit can get you in a lot of rooms, but you still need the capital.
Need the cash flow.
Yeah. So I'll say those are my two biggest things that I can think about.
My biggest misconception, well, what I think the biggest misconception when it comes to credit, personal or business, is that it is a global necessity. I really need y'all to understand that credit, for the most part, is mostly applicable in the United States. Okay. I live in Mexico currently. There is no Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Okay. There is no running your credit report. There is no what's your credit score. There is none. It's obsolete. It doesn't matter. They don't care about that. There is no credit score. But you can build credit in Mexico. Now, the way that they build credit here is completely different. First, they go off of your residency, how long you've been here. And another way that they go off of credit is like you know how like we have Macy's and Dillard's and places like that in the States, and how you can open a credit line there. That is how that is a way that they start credit here. They have a retail store called Coppel, and you go to Coppel and you open an account with them, and they provide you with a credit line, and then you just bill from there. But Experian, TransUnion, Equifax has no leeway here that you cannot. You can leverage your credit from there here when it comes to real estate now because they're starting to offer different options for financing here for financing real estate. They have this one app called Moxie, and Moxie is a financing company that allows you to use your credit from the states in order to buy real estate here. So yeah, one of the biggest misconceptions about credit is that it's applicable globally, and it's not. Another misconception about credit, I think, is you'll literally be able to get anything because you have good credit, and it doesn't work that way. Because some places you need to have a good credit mix. Some places you need to have good payment history. Some places you need to have cash flow. You can have a good credit score, but you still need to have cash flow. So I think that's another big misconception is that just because you have a good credit score that you will automatically get approved for anything.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
That one hit home for me when I bought my house. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be gagging like I done did all this work to get this good credit score and I still can't get approved. What do I need? You need a better credit mix. You need lower utilization. You need more primaries. You need, and then one more misconception is that you'll be able to use your cards anywhere in the world. There are a lot of cards that I have that I cannot use here. And it's crazy because it's like, well, what is the point? Like I got these, which is cool because it keeps my utilization down. You know what I mean? But just because you have these large stacks of cards doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to work everywhere in the world. And one more thing is Mexico kind of despises American Express. They don't like a lot of places do not accept American Express. So just want to give y'all a heads up. Now, what does generational wealth mean to you?
Okay, so generational wealth means passing down something that's tangible that your children can use to compete with others. Um, and so I feel like we're in a very competitive world. We have to compete with people who aren't even, native to America, but we're native to America. Our family has been here since the 1700s.
It's the
And
beginning.
before that, really, but that's what we have on paper. So I think generational wealth is doing enough in your lifetime to pass down something tangible that your children can use to compete and can use to survive. And so that's a house. That's really land, like you mentioned, because houses can get taken away,
Hmm.
and so can land, but it's really
Yep.
hard. um I think it's also a business. Even though I think that everybody's not a business minded entrepreneur person, but businesses have so many loopholes. And I also think generational wealth is passing down culture. Like if you pass down your culture and you make it rich enough to survive generations to come, even if your family doesn't have all the necessary money that they need, your family will be well off and educated enough to create for themselves. So I think it's also
Correct.
just teaching your kids about this stuff. Like my daughter has credit already. She has a lot of things that I did not have as a child. So that.
Yeah, this generational wealth is very important. And I think compared to what we experience as kids versus what our children or our nieces and nephews could experience can be a totally different and more gratifying experience because a lot of us when we were born or when we were children or growing up we had a bill in our name already before we were even old enough to have credit. So just knowing the difference in how to open an account for your child, how to open a CD account so where they can't touch it until they're graduated from college or from high school, or opening a business in their name. Or I think Cash App offers accounts at like 13, 12, 13, 14. Some banks you can open a bank account for a child as soon as they're born. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I said that. I'm gonna post that list of banks on my story on Instagram, just so y'all will know. But there are literally some banks that you can open an account for your child as soon as they're born. So there are a lot of different possibilities. And since we're on that in that area, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the question that I had just added. What are some ways parents can invest in their child's future when it comes to credit?
Okay, so again, I'm going to start with mindset, right? Because your mindset is a tangible thing. Your body gets old, your mind doesn't. So
Right.
I think you got to invest. You got to teach your children that they're going to be great, and you got to teach them the fundamentals of finance.
Mhm.
But outside of your mindset, most definitely, as soon as they're born, get them a savings account. Why not? I think that's the first thing you could get for your child, a high yield savings account. It's so easy. You just put money in there and you use it as you need. um, I like 529 plans. For those who don't know what that is, 529 is just a tax code that allows you to save for your minor, and it's predominantly, well, it's only for college expenses. And the money you put in grows with the stock market because it's an investment. And it's a small way to set your children up to know, number one, that they're going to go to higher education, but also number two, if they don't use the money, they can use it for their retirement starting in 2024. So I think a high yield savings account, some type of college savings, or business savings, whatever you want to do. If you don't think your child is going to go to college, something that allows them to have something when they hit 18, a pile of money, is really important. And then a lot of parents I know at work, because I'm a financial coach by day as well at a nonprofit, a lot of parents that I know, they also do custodial accounts, which is another way to like help your child
Mhm.
save for their older selves. Because I mean, if I would have known that, I need to have a lot of money in retirement, I would have started saving for retirement the minute I started working at like 15.
Right.
but so I think the minute your teens start their first job, set up a retirement account for them, because that's really important too.
Yes, definitely a retirement account, a life insurance policy, or beneficiary. Um, and an example or another resource when it comes to high yield savings account, I personally have one with Marcus Goldman Sachs. Easy, and it just gains interest, the more money that you put into the account. So that's a suggestion for you guys that don't have a high yield savings account. You can open one with Marcus Goldman Sachs. So I'm gonna pause real quick. Benji the Roots Receivers and Mafia, thank y'all for tuning in. Instagram, if you want to see the rest of the interview, head over to YouTube. Let's go. All right, so should AI be a component in today's entrepreneurial business model?
Yes, 100%.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah.
No, it's all good. Um, it's funny that you asked that, because I've been sitting on like a business idea surrounding AI for about 2 years, and I am thinking I'm gonna make a move on it. So yeah, I think it should be, because I mean it's a little scary, I won't lie. Thinking that like robots and computers will start to take over jobs. It's a little scary, but it is necessary for the future to have that type of technology. So I do think that as Black people, we should try to get ahead on the AI tech stuff and incorporate it into our mom and pop shops. It's going to set us apart from a lot of other businesses. And I think we'll be able to gain more on the back end if we start to incorporate more technology, like something as simple, like how McDonald's got. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while, but the last time I went to McDonald's, they got those machines where you order your food by yourselves. So it's like, businesses having something as small as that type of AI technology is important.
I think it should, especially considering the fact of knowing how it's being implemented in everything now. Like it's literally taking control of a lot of stuff. So I think it definitely could be incorporated in almost any and every business model. For example, travel agents, or when you're planning trips or vacations for yourself or for your family. Um, Other ways, maybe, excuse me. Chat PT is a great resource. I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but I don't 100% use it because it's just a lot of regurgitated stuff and people are utilizing that. And I think it takes away the authenticity of who you are as a person. Yeah, it is good to have that information and access to that information, but people know when somebody like actually wrote this out or, you know, you'll use ChatGPT. Another thing that I'm noticing is that a lot of the schools, the professors are starting to get agitated because the kids are using that for their essays and their projects and stuff like that. But I'll give you guys one app, one of the apps that I use pertaining to AI and how it helps me in my business. I use video. It's called Video AI, VIDYO.ai. And it is basically when I do my interviews in my in studio interviews, Once my editing team has edited the long version of the show, hour, 2 hours long, I then upload that video into video, and they will post clips. And not only will it post clips, it will do text to speech. You can utilize your brand name, your logo, your brand colors into the video. It's just an easier way to chop down your large content so that you don't have to do it yourself or do it manually. One more tip, I think it will be great because a lot of these apps have scheduling now. And instead of you having to write captions every day, make posts every day, and things like that, you could really like just maybe choose one day to create all of your content, right? And incorporate AI with it. And you could literally create enough content that'll last for a month or 2 months. So it's just all according to how you choose to use it and implement it into your business model. What is a trust and how important is it to you?
So I'm not too well versed on trust. I'm still
Me
learning
either.
myself.
Me too.
Um, um, from what I understand, it is a way to protect your assets. And the way in which America has written into law, how people own real estate is very complex, right? Like you can own something, but if you pass away, the state can determine what to do with your assets if you don't have a will. And even if you do have a will, the state can intervene. So my understanding is that a trust will prevent the state from intervening, and you skip the whole probate process. So the process of having to go to court and saying, hey, this is my father's house, so it goes directly to me. Like when you have a trust, you skip that whole process because the trust will say, I want this house to go to this person located at such and such address, blah, blah, blah. I want my Roth IRA to go to this person, blah, blah, blah. So, from my understanding, it is the best way for you to properly pass down assets to your family members. And it's a way to protect your assets from others, from banks, from companies, and things of that sort.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I'm still doing a lot of research on REITs myself, and I'm not gonna sit here and make it seem like I know everything because I don't. But I'm still learning and I'm still executing what I am learning. And I still, regardless of the fact, I think it is very important that we utilize this information that we have and not only execute, but use it to empower other people. So that way, even if we aren't 100% professionals at it, we're still ringing the alarm and, letting people know like, hey, do research on trust, do research on Roth IRAs, do research on REITs, do research on, high yield savings account, do research on certificates of deposits and savings accounts for your kids. All of this information is for you guys. Again, it is educational purposes only. We are here to give you guys education to do your own research, to make your own investments, to make your own decisions on whatever it is that you choose to do. It's just the fact that the importance of having the conversations and empowering you so that you'll know different ways that you can invest and you can make money not only for yourself but for your family and for your children. What does group economics mean for you?
That's a good point. But group group economics means I don't want to say like the cliche, like supporting Black businesses, because I feel like I speak to a lot of people, and a
Yeah.
lot of people are like telling me that they support Black businesses. So I know so many Black people who's like, I go out of my way to make sure I only shop with Black people and Black businesses.
And it's
So
not reciprocated.
yeah, yeah, right. And it's not really doing, I mean, it's not doing the numbers that I thought it would do either. So I think group economics is really just not just supporting retailers, but really becoming the manufacturers of things. Like, We can't just all make hair and eyelash companies. Like I had one in high school, and it's like we can't just all become t-shirt clothing brand. You know what I mean? Like we have to
Yes.
be our hands have to be tied in the manufacturing part of business. So I think group economics is like pulling multiple black people together and saying, "Hey, we're gonna start this factory on how to they back in the days they used to have this big mattress company that was Negro owned." So I think group economics is pulling black people together and saying, "Hey, we're gonna start this big mattress manufacturing company." Or like Madam CJ Walker, hey, we're gonna start this big hair manufacturing
Yes.
company. It's more than just, getting a pretty bottle, slapping your title on it, and then selling a product. I also think it's what those families in Georgia did. They like wealthy
Yes.
families came together and bought
Yes.
land and made it their own community. I think that's group,
Yes.
group economics, and like that's major. That's something that me and you got enough family to do
That's what
by
we do. That's
ourselves.
what we. Yeah. That's like the goal
So
for real.
yeah, we was talking about that at the family reunion. Like we need to figure out one place for all of us to
Something.
just
Something.
move to and make our own city. So yeah, I think that's what it looks like, honestly. I think that's my best answer. Um I also think, it's just looking out for each other. Because some of us are like in very vulnerable situations
Mhm.
economically, and it's hard to pull yourself out of that. So I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say like what I envision,
Mhm.
but basically it's really coming together and supporting each other on larger scales, not just saying, you know what, I'm gonna pop into this spot, Mama Pies, and buy a pie
Right.
today. That's
Right.
not really economic. Even though
Right.
that's helpful, that's not
Yes.
really much.
Yeah, so I agree. And group economics can be pooling your resources. I'm going to give you guys an example of what I consider group economics. Okay, one woman, and major shout out to Royal Self Care Beauty, Royalty Self Care Beauty out here in Mexico. She opened a hair store, right? But it's not just a hair store, it's a beauty supply store, hair and beauty supply store. And she sells stuff like the Bergamot hair grease, sulfur aid, hair weave, facial scrubs, shea butter creams, like hair braiding accessories, hair jewelry, picks, afro combs, and it's like, some people might look at that and be like, that's basic, but it's not. I live in Mexico and we have nowhere to go to get these products and these items. So, although she is the face behind the business, she has this business owner in Virginia who owns the facial scrubs and the lotions and the creams and the body butters and stuff. Then she has another business owner over here who sells the hair. Then she might have a manufacturer in Africa who sells the human hair or whatever. Just pooling your resources and bringing things together so that the people can be good. It doesn't necessarily have to be a health and beauty store. Just like you said, the family in Georgia, the people who came together and made the new Black Wall Street. That's group economics. So, and I'm sure there's a lot more examples out there. There's this older lady who built a whole community of tiny homes, right? And although she might be the face behind it, I'm sure it took group economics behind it. And even if not, by the time she's done selling all of those tiny homes, it'll be group economics because each person has to pay their rent. Each person has to buy that tiny home. So there's just so many different ways that you can implement group economics into your life and the lives of others. And I think, like I said, the importance of these conversations need to be had because we need to see examples. We need to hear the possibilities. We need to see the representation of these things happening because there are people out there who might have the capital but don't have the resources or the people. There might be people out there who have the resources but don't have the capital. There might be people out there who have the capital and the resources but are in fear and aren't ready to make that step because they fear being being ran up on. It's a farmer that's pretty much battling for his and his family's life. Like they've been burning up his land and all kind of crazy shit. So this conversation was needed. And I really hope that we were able to inspire different people to know, different ways of financial education, different ways to invest into your future and invest in the future of your children. And even if you don't have kids like me, I got nieces and nephews. Okay. And I talk to my brothers and sisters about it. They got their Cash App accounts and, they got the other different things that they got going on. So we're utilizing it. We're making the moves. You know what I'm saying? Our family's great. And outside of my family, my homies, my brothers, my business partners, my constituents, we got houses. We got cars. Everybody credit going up. Like that for me, that's group economics. If somebody called me or refer somebody to me and they need a house and I get them that house, that's group economics. They moved in, they got their keys. They moved from a hotel to a 5-bedroom in the suburbs. That's group economics. When somebody need a car and they tired of catching the bus or tired of Ubering and they just got this newborn, they need to make moves, and we made it happen for them to get it. That's group economics, in my opinion. So whether it's on a small scale or on a large scale, utilize your resources, know that it is possible, and it is okay to reach out for help. It is okay to, ask questions, and utilize your resources. That's it. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to or anything you want to add that we haven't covered?
Yes, so I just released a Budget Like a Brilliant Girl planner. It's a lifestyle and a financial planner where you pretty much can plan out your weeks, days, months in advance. It's undated, so you can start anytime. But on top of you just being able to plan out everyday things, you can also budget, invest with this planner. So I have it to where you can write down your investing plans, you can write out your budget. You can write out your subscription services, thinking about things to cancel, thinking about ways to cut back. There's activities in the book, and there's a savings challenge, debt challenge, and no spending day challenge. So I would highly encourage everyone to get it. I have different covers for women, and I also have a cover for men as well. So it is for men as well, even though it's called Budget Like a Brilliant Girl. Because I do have male clients a lot who come to me and they say like, hey, I need you to teach me how to budget. Like, I want a budget just like you. And I have men who have bought my budgeting sheet and they use it more than some of the women that I work with. So I just want to give a shout out to that. I can share it with you. I can also drop it in the chat. I don't know if anyone's on the chat, but I can also put it in the chat. And yeah, it's just a way for you all to budget.
And that is available on Amazon.
Yep, it's on Amazon and it's also on my website. I'm scared to touch the chat because I don't want to get off the video. So
Don't
I'm gonna
do it.
send it
Just
to
if
you.
you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll post it. Yep. Yep.
All right. Yeah, because I
Um,
don't want to. Yeah. Okay.
I think oh, and then one more thing to add to what she was saying. I think that planner is very important. I think I might just go ahead and order it because it's one thing to have a goal, right? Like let's say I plan to save $1 million or make $1 million. But it's another thing to have a plan to obtain that $1 million, right? And I feel like when you actually make a plan or strategically make a strategy to make it happen, it is going to remind you, like, oh, I was supposed to put 500 to the side, or oh, I was supposed to take 100 out of this, oh, I was supposed to invest this into that. Like, make a plan to obtain the goals that you set to obtain. So I think that's very important. Let everybody know what how to follow you and email you or contact you if they ever want to book you for a budgeting consultation, or if they might want to be a guest on Viral Debates.
Oh yes. Okay. So great point. Just want to add on to the last point. Everything I write down, I've done, and it's kind of scary. There's some things that I've written in 2018, 2019, and I've been able to do it. So I said that I would have 100K net worth by 2023, and I have that plus and then some now, and it's really by accident. So ditto to what you just said about writing it down. But you can contact me on brilliantgirlfinance.com. Brilliant Girl Finance on Instagram, Brilliant Girl F on Twitter. Email me at brilliantgirlfinance@gmail.com. That's the best way to get in contact with me if you want to do some financial coaching or credit repair. And then if you want to be a guest on Viral Debates, you can just contact us at Viral Debates on Instagram or Viral TV NYC at gmail.com.
BNG, the Rule of Street Series, the Mafia. I'm Mob ENT. This has been another empowering, informative, educational show with Brilliant Girl Finance. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for putting aside time to do this. As y'all can see, she's in her car. So she in the process of making moves. And I didn't want to reschedule. I wanted to do it because we both said I would do it. So we made it happen. And I'm immediately finna get ready to go to my show. So one more time, let them know how to follow you on social media. One more time.
Yes, follow me at Brilliant Girl Finance and at Kadira X and at Viral Debates on Instagram.
You already know what time it is. Thank you so much. I love you. Be safe and have a productive weekend.
Yes, good luck on your show and bye. Until next
Thank you.
time.
All right, cool. You already know what time it is. Benji the Rules, True Series, the Mafia. I'm Mob ENT. We are live and in full effect. This has been another episode of the Real Right Show with the Viral Debates and the Brilliant Girl Finance founder. We went over financial literacy, REITs, real estate. We talked about ways to invest in children's future. We talked about ways to save. Make sure y'all follow her on all social media platforms. Brilliant Girl Finance, Brilliant Girl F, Viral Debates on Instagram. Y'all already know what time it is. I'm getting ready to get ready for my show. I am performing for the first time in Mexico. This is so epic. Y'all do not understand. Thank you, God. Thank you, Sword. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you to my spirit guides for blessing me and for giving me the opportunity to shine my light. Thank you to all my supporters. And thank you to my haters too. Y'all already know what time it is. I appreciate it. Y'all already know the vibes, peace, protection, prosperity. Let's go.